Hello everybody, and welcome to my F1 2021 career mode. But before we get into the race, I want to say a few words for the Iceman himself, Kimi Räikkönen, who has announced that he is to retire at the end of this Formula 1 World Championship. And no, I'm not just talking about in the game, sadly. I'm talking about IRL. But yes, at the end of the season, he is to hang up his helmet. My first memory of Kimi Räikkönen was in 2001 in the qualifying session of the Australian Grand Prix, where he was taking a corner so quickly even the cameraman couldn't catch up with him. That's how you knew he had raw pace. He had an impressive first season with Sauber, which was what allowed him to be signed for McLaren in 2002. And after a mixed season there, 2003 he started flexing what he could do, fighting for the championship right up to the last race and only missing out marginally. 2004, again, mixed fortunes due to a car that just wasn't up for it. And 2005, I felt like should have been his championship, but obviously bad reliability got in the way there. But his luck changed, and in 2007, he took his one and only world championship. Since then, a handful of victories and great drives have just cemented the legend he is, as well as some funny quotes, including "Leave me alone, I know what I'm doing," and many others, including another one I'd like to mention, "Gloves and steering wheel," you know, that whole palaver. But you know, the Iceman wasn't entirely made of ice, and there was one race, I think it was the Spanish Grand Prix in, I want to say 2017, don't quote me on that, where he was taken out at turn 1, and there was a young boy in tears over watching his hero getting taken out. And Kimi then meets his young fan, signs a hat for him. And, you know, that was just lovely. That was lovely to see. Formula 1 is going to miss Kimi because there are very few with a character just like him. He's going to leave a hole in the sport, but you know what? He's done alright. He's had a great career. He's a world champion. He's got over 20 victories, numerous podiums, and he has made a mark on the sport. He has made his mark, and I am sad to see him go, but you know what? I wish him all the best in his future endeavours. Another personal favourite Kimi memory of mine, well, there's two of them. One of them is when he decides that the Malaysian Grand Prix in 2009 isn't going to continue after the heavy rain, so he goes and gets himself an ice cream. The other one is when he had to retire from the 2006 Monaco Grand Prix, and he just gets on his yacht, gets his top off and starts sunbathing. Legend of a driver. You are going to be missed, Kimi. You are going to be missed. Right, with that said, let's get straight into this career mode episode. We are now at Monza. This is, I believe, the 10th round of the championship, so we're getting well into the second half of the season now. And the Dutch Grand Prix, if you haven't seen it, go and check that out, but I personally would rather you didn't. It was a shocker. It was a shocker, that's all I'm going to say. But we're now coming back to Monza, where I'm hoping to do well. So we go straight into Q1, and, well, that's not the corner, Joe. That's not even remotely the corner. In fact, that was pretty much you making up your own corner, because that wasn't the actual circuit. Anyway, we're in Q1, we're pushing hard, going to try and get through. I'm not sure what my pace is going to be like at Monza. I'm really not sure what my pace is going to be like, but actually, that doesn't seem too bad if we're ahead of Ocon. And yes, that is enough to get us through the first part of qualifying. We're just looking for our teammate now, SHWARTZMAN, who just missed out, which is unfortunate for him. But now we're in Q2, and I'm once again pushing hard, seeing what we can do here, and hoping this is going to be enough to get through. I'm not sure it will, but I'm giving it everything nonetheless. Anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. Heading round the Parabolica then, what is this time going to be? Is it going to be quick enough to get into the top 10? Wow! Yes, it is! E3! That is an incredible lap! Where has this pace come from? I mean, have we always had that pace? I think I've done a little bit of work on the engine power here, and it has worked a treat. I did stick on, before Spa, a couple of engine upgrades, hoping that this would work out, and it seems to have given us some good pace round here. I've mainly been focused on the chassis and aero, but I locked on a couple of power ones, knowing that Monza was coming up, and you know what? That has paid off. It has got me into Q3, and now we're doing our Q3 lap. Right, first corner was decent, nice sweeping around the parabolica. We're going to clip the chicane beautifully with any luck, and we have. That second apex wasn't perfect, but I'll take it. Heading into the Lesmos then, we sort of clipped it. We did a late clipping of the apex there. Apex 2, nice, on the outside curb. Now down the long straight, going up towards Ascari. We seem to be carrying some great momentum here as we now head into the chicane. Clip the apex there, let the car run out wide. Maybe not as wide as that, but that'll do for now. Now heading up to the long straight before we go into Parabolica. This corner is critical. You can lose quite a bit of time getting this one wrong. And we have gone a little bit wide, but that means we can straighten up quicker on the exit, which we have done. And you know what? Where is this lap going to put us? 4th quickest! Wow! Wow! Wow and wow again. But where do we end up in the end? It is P5 on the grid for the Italian Grand Prix. I am so chuffed with that. That was a stunning lap. And I am now confident with the pace we could carry into the race.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations. And it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6-mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position. And P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo, a strong showing from the Australian. Looking down the rest of the grid we have Hamilton, Bottas, Joker and Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez, Sainz and Lance Stroll, Gasly, Vettel, Fernando Alonso and Tsunoda, Ocon, Giovinazzi, Robert Schwartzman and Kimi Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher, Russell, Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. That's it then, it's...
So it is our first top 5 start of the season. What are we going to do with this? We have a massive opportunity to score some great points. Let's not waste it. It is lights out and away we go then, heading towards turn 1. We've had a brilliant start. We're up to P4, but I'm having to take avoiding action because I brake very late and I've gone straight across the chicane. And, well, that's a disaster there, but how lucky am I to not have damage there? I'm not quite sure what happened, and I'm really not sure what's going on here. The Aston Martin seems to be pushing the Alpine, and there's a bit of damage on their cars. But yeah, I just narrowly avoided taking damage there. But anyway, after a virtual safety car, we are back underway, and I seem to have caught Perez napping a bit there. But I think I gunned it a bit early before the green flag and was able to take advantage of being a bit further behind on the Delta. But I've gone wide and Perez has gone back through anyway, which I think is only fair enough because that was a bit of a cheeky one, if I'm honest. But now we're getting back in Perez's slipstream, going to the outside, and hopefully this time I can brake appropriately for the corner, and I have done, and I'm battling Perez for 4th, and that is the overtake done. But now I've got to watch out because I've got Max Verstappen on my tail, and now we're really duking it out with the big boys. That we can't be messing around here. We are duking it out, fighting it out. with the big boys, and the first of which is right behind me, is Max Verstappen. And this is going to be a tough race if we're going to maintain a top position. I've gone very wide at the Lesmo, and that has allowed Max to nip me up the inside, which is not really what I wanted to do. I really wanted to try and hold position, but a little mistake has allowed Max to go through, and now I've got Checo Perez back on my gearbox, and I'm having to half charge after Max and half cover Perez as well. But Perez has now been caught up battling Leclerc, so now we can try and get back after Verstappen if we've got the means to do it. We both have the same Honda engine, so it's now down to using overtake and a bit of DRS to try and get us through. Not quite there, not going to happen there. Max has us covered, but now we've got to try and line him up into Parabolica if we can, although that move is a bit futile in itself, because if we do that, we're just going to be vulnerable on the straight. So the best thing I can do is tuck in here and try and get a run, get him on into T1, and we've not really got the run because I went slightly wide there, but we're going to get into his slipstream. We're going to try and get the run, overtake briefly running out there because I've been abusing the overtake button. Now we're going to go to the outside, and we have got Max on the straight, and for the first time, we overtake a driver like they're standing still, and you know what? It is good to have a car that we're now fighting in the top 5 with. You know, this is very encouraging. Our pace round here is extremely encouraging. And now the front 3 are battling, and they are right with us. We are staying right with this battling front 3 of what I believe is Hamilton, Norris and Ricciardo. And if these 3 keep battling, could we involve ourselves in that? Could we involve ourselves in the battle for the lead? Anything is possible in this race. We seem to be running in really strong pace, but unfortunately, it seems they've now stopped battling between themselves. Hamilton is disappearing off into the distance. We're going very sideways out of Ascari, pushing hard, trying to keep up. And now Max Verstappen on the outside of Parabolica, and I'm not having him do that on me. And, well, there's a little bit of rubbing, but Max still around the outside of Parabolica, getting his car a nose ahead, side by side down the pit straight. This is a great scrap with Max Verstappen. And now look who's getting involved. It's Charles Leclerc. And both of them have got us on the straight, and that is a scary sandwich to be in. I've seen how it gets when Leclerc and Verstappen battle, and I do not want to be in the middle of that sandwich. But both of them have now got past us. I've got sideways out of turn 1, trying to push hard to keep up with them, and now Perez is on the outside of Curva Grande there. I'm trying to hold Perez off. Oh, this is going to be a challenging race. We're now braking late to a second chicane, and we have just kept Perez behind, but now we've got to keep Bottas behind, and Bottas has just gone straight through. Bottas in the Mercedes has gone straight through, but I've stuck on overtake, and I'm going to take a dive up the inside of the second chicane, and you better believe I'm taking that P6 back. I want to try and catch after Leclerc and Verstappen if I can, because those two are now starting to battle again, and I want to get myself right involved in that as we carry on. But once again, Bottas not allowing me the luxury of involving myself in that battle, and he's just overtaken me off the circuit. Surely that's got to be a penalty. Surely. I'm going to dive up the inside anyway, take that place back off of him, because that was a bit of an illegal overtake on your part, Mr. Bottas. But I'm sure that's not going to be a penalty now, because I have got the place back. So, and he's now battling Perez. So hopefully that's going to give me a little bit of breathing room from Bottas, because right now I'm getting none. Meanwhile, this is Verstappen and Leclerc who are going side by side now for P4. And can they please do this for a bit longer, because that is going to allow me to catch up. Please, can they carry on doing that for a bit longer? Right, Bottas back on me again. He just will not leave me alone. And you know what? My plan here is, okay, you're going to go through here, but I'm now going to get the DRS on you. I am now going to get the DRS and have overtake at my disposal to get back past you. So we're now getting back into that toe of the Mercedes, and we're getting closer, closer, closer to the outside. It's going to be, because Valtteri is covering the inside, late braking, and that is the move back done again. P6 for P5 even for us, so I don't know who. I think Leclerc has pitted, so we're now back into the top 5, probably momentarily until Leclerc pits. But we've now got Bottas trying to get back through. But you know what? At this point, I've decided I'm going to take my pit stop. Let's see if I can get a bit of an undercut on these people. And the virtual safety car has just come out as I'm in the pit, so I don't know if that's going to work out in my favour or not. Verstappen just ahead of me, and there is Leclerc in a queue of cars, and we have come out in traffic, which does nothing for us at all. Especially given I wanted to use the advantage of the fresh tyres to maybe get a cheeky little undercut and cover off Bottas and maybe... well, whatever, but that's not happened, so we're now going to go back up the inside of Mazepin and just get that done as quickly as possible, because the last person I want to be stuck behind is Nikita Mazepin, and now we've got Leclerc and Giovinazzi just ahead of us, and we're now going to have to try and get Leclerc while we can, because for some bizarre reason he's got on hard tyres. He's now going down the inside of Giovinazzi. We're braking late. Can we get them both around the outside of Ascari? Yes, we do! What an overtake! That right there, for me, is one of my personal favourite overtakes that I have done on this game. Oh, what, I'm proud of that one. What an overtake that was. And now we've got Giovinazzi right behind us. In fact, no, we don't, because Leclerc has just seen him off, and now Leclerc is coming back at us, and he's getting right in my gearbox. Can we cover the Ferrari driver? This wouldn't be making us very popular with the Tifosi at all. But Leclerc is on the inside, and I'm going to brake late, and that is Leclerc covered off. And look at that. That's Lewis Hamilton that is right in front of us. So pitting that lap earlier did work a treat for us, because we were nearly catching up with Lewis Hamilton there. But now he's driven off into the distance with Ricciardo. He's got past Max Verstappen. And once again, I've got Charles Leclerc behind me. I'm defending very late. I'm not letting him get past easily. I am really fighting hard for position here, really duking it out with the big boys for the first time, and I'm enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this race. It's proving that fun challenge for me. We've got a yellow flag. I'm not quite sure why. I think it's Bottas that's dropped out. No, I might be wrong. I think it's Lewis Hamilton. Yes, it's Hamilton on my right. So Lewis Hamilton now out of the race. And that puts me into P5, I beg your pardon. And now Leclerc back on my rear. I'm pushing as hard as I can, but I'm not able to shake off the charging Ferrari. Sainz has got past now. Sainz is having a look down the inside, trying to cover him off. Leclerc now going to the left. I've got two Ferraris passing me on the straight. I'm going to dive down the inside of the both of them here. And we have got that move done, and we're still covering off the two Ferraris. And you could imagine that the Tifosi are probably reaching for objects to throw at me right now. They won't be too happy with that one. Now look at Leclerc, sorry, I think that's Leclerc. Now look at Sainz going for me there into the first Lesmo, but he's gone wide, and he's tagged Leclerc, and I think that's going to do damage to him. So we see it from Leclerc now. Sainz has tried to go down the inside of the Lesmo. I've covered him off. Sainz then goes wide, and Leclerc goes into him. And I think that's going to do damage to Carlos, surely. I think Carlos might have some damage for that. Meanwhile now, Leclerc and Vettel are battling. So Sebastian Vettel has joined this, but he is now battling with Leclerc. And you know what? If that carries on, that's going to allow me a little bit of breathing space to just pull a little bit ahead of these two, which is what I need. Coming down the curve of Grande, these two are still side by side. Heading into the second chicane, still side by side. Has Vettel got the move done though? I think Vettel has got the move done on his former teammate. Like I said, that Aston Martin has got grunt. And you know what? Those two kept battling long enough that we got to the last lap, and I was able to maintain a gap of around 2 to 3 seconds, albeit with them now catching me on the last lap, because I'm not pushing at all, contrary to what that sideways moment may show you. But what a race it has been. Fighting it out with the big boys, with some of the top drivers. And you know what? Our pace round here has been really encouraging. It's been really quick. We barely put a foot wrong in this race, and we are about to be rewarded as we are about to match our best finish of the season. We got P5 in Bahrain, albeit down to lucky circumstances. But here we have had genuine pace. We have fought the top 10, and we are well inside it. We are going to finish P5 and take 10 championship points if I don't completely lose it in parabolic at first. P5!
care of the car on the way in.
And once again, I forgot to turn my headset off. Smooth operator! You can hear me celebrating there because I forgot to turn my headset off. I was so overjoyed with that result. I don't record my commentaries live. I always do post-commentary, but you know what? Just listening to how happy I was with that result, I'm still that happy with that result because it is a solid top 5. It is 10 points. I am so chuffed with that.
Over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Well, what a race that was. Such good pace we had all through the race. We were solidly in the top 10. There was a hell of a lot of defending we had to do in that race, so that was a challenging race and a half just to defend all those drivers that were charging at us, but we kept them behind us. They threw everything at us and they failed. We were able to take a solid top 5, but it's Valtteri Bottas in the end that won, despite all his time behind us. Norris got second with Ricciardo third. Then it's Verstappen, us, Vettel, Leclerc, Gasly, Tsunoda and Perez, rounding out the top 10. But 10 championship points, that will do us just nicely. That is a nice big haul of points for Joe H2O Racing. Not the best race, I know. It's for SHWARTZMAN, so I don't know why he struggled so much in that race. But, you know, doesn't matter. It is what it is. We have now moved up to 11th in the championship. And we are now on 27 points. And you know what? That will do just finely for this race. Right then, I'm going to leave you with the standings and the highlights reel from this race. The highlights reel very much worth watching in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, punch the sub button, and join me the next time I play F1 2021 Career Mode.
Outside
just you.